Welcome to WYCD Wicked Back and to the Left. My name is Redacted, and we are looking at some of the conspiracies from around America and the rest of the world. We are looking at actual tales of UFOs, and we need you to contribute. I have my own story of mystery encountered in the countryside of Michigan, but I'm asking you, if you've encountered a UFO and they won't let you tell the story, well, click on the link and share your tale with us. I'll share my own as well as some news items from around the world involving conspiracy, cover up, and in fact, perhaps a government plot. But of course, the main topic tonight is UFOs. Happy almost spooky season, everyone. Let's say hello to the redacted community. Desaturated name redacted. Yeah. I have this pin, says Pinkerbell, that says, "Take me with you," with a UFO on it. Funny you should say that. I was abducted before, says Earl Grey. You better click that link and share your story, my friend. Because I have one as well. I do want to believe. And Pinkerbell has a pin that says, "Take me with you." Well, I wanted to be taken. You see, I was driving down a countryside in Michigan late at night, a dirt road, full on pebbles under the tire. And in the distance, I was driving up a long, long hill, a slope, if you will, and in the distance, at the peak of that slope, there was a light. And it was clearly above the road. I drove towards it because there was nothing else to do. I could turn around, but curiosity got the better of me. And what was I going to do? Stop my journey because I saw a light in the nighttime? Could have been anything. I kept driving towards it. I was heading to a vacation cabin. I was going to get in touch with nature again. I had family staying there. I was going to meet up with them, but I was late. So this was the dead of night. The sole light above the road began to move in an erratic manner. Not like any plane I had ever seen, not like even a helicopter. It was moving quickly, but in a tight group. It was as though it was suspended above the road and being shaken. It bobbed up and down from side to side, and I still drove towards it. And I remember thinking, clearly, I hope it's aliens. I wanted to be abducted. I thought, boy, if they've come all this way, we can't have anything they need because they're able to travel this far. I drove towards the light with exuberance. If anything, I was afraid that I might scare it off. I considered turning off my headlights, but I didn't, because I didn't want to deceive the aliens either. I kept my speed and I continued up the hill towards the light. It moved more and more rapidly as I approached. I understood that part of me should feel fear, but I didn't feel fear. This wasn't courage, this was curiosity. I was desperate to meet them. Then I got under the light, and I saw that on this country road, it was a single light suspended from a wire that was strung up across the road. And there was a raccoon crawling across the wire, making the light bobble. Bummer. Massive bummer. Very, very depressing moment to not meet the aliens. But for a moment, for just a moment before that sad moment, the world, the universe, was a little more magical. For just a moment, I got to appreciate that I might be in a universe that had other life from elsewhere, visiting, curious about us. I want to believe. If you've encountered an alien, or you think you might have encountered an alien, or you've simply encountered an object that was unidentified and flying, let me know. Use the link in the description or pinned in the comments to come talk to your old pal Redacted. And we'll go over your stories of alien encounters, of chasing UFOs, of strange occurrences throughout the world. Legend of Sean says, vertical mode, my nemesis. Indeed. But I'm hoping to catch folks scrolling through YouTube shorts who do happen to have a story of alien encounters. Redacted wants to skip to Star Trek future so bad, I know. And I don't want the Star Trek near future where we have resource wars and chemmed up soldiers and what have you. I want to skip to the future of Star Trek where the show is set and it's a socialist utopia. That sounds lovely. I just don't like the path they said we took to get there. I didn't believe it until I did, says Lynn Prince. Lynn, I'm curious. When did you believe? What made you believe? Do tell. Latino Mufune says, I like the Twilight Zone vibe tonight. Me too. I'm feeling kind of witchy. Hey, speaking of, we have some government conspiracies to cover. Many of you may be familiar with Galactic Streamlord, aka the head of the Galactic News Network. He has been shut down, wiped off of YouTube entirely, accused, I think, of playing copyrighted content. I got demonetized in a very similar way, and I'm still clawing my way back from it. Galactic Streamlord, I don't know what he's going to do. But I do know he's live on Twitch right now. If you have a Twitch account, do consider fighting the man because the ominous they don't want him putting his message out there. And you can fight back. Subscribe to Galactic Streamlord on Twitch. Also, following this stream, we are going to we're going to raid Riverboat Jack's stream. Riverboat Jack is a gal who is currently talking about the necessity of contacting your senator to demand trans rights. So we will go to her stream after this. Just don't put a curse on anybody. I wouldn't dream of it. But if somebody's capable of putting curses, I would love to know how that works. I was forced into my own acknowledgement, says Lynn Prince. Okay. I don't follow that, but I'll take it at face value. Right? Natchikit quite rightly pointing out that Galactic Stream Lord is, in fact, one of the best to ever do it. I mean, I honestly think that fella is the future of news coverage. Honestly, I don't mean he's going to become incredibly famous or whatever. I hope he does, but the manner in which he covers the news, I think, is going to be standard going forward. We just don't need quite so many. There's no reason that the primary sources, the people that pay somebody to go out with a camera and film a thing, are national stations anymore. We still need the local folks who actually, pay camera folks and employ them day to day. But the way GNN covers news, I think, is just going to be standard going forward. To report by taking the feeds of other news stations, summarizing it, so you get a day's worth of news over the course of a night. I think we have to. I think we have to support him so that we know good people are doing it as opposed to bad. Because the way he does it, everybody's going to be doing very soon. High praise coming from the ghost of news anchors past. Fair enough. Well, let's talk about. Let's talk about a government cover-up. Oh, I don't care for that. Well, that's a little bit better. This is, we're just going to go full screen with this. This is from. Wow, this really doesn't work well with sharing. This is footage.
This video shows an ICE officer dropping his handgun during an arrest. He appeared to point the gun in the direction of the bystanders after picking it up.
Put the gun down.
Rafael Talisman, who recorded the incident, tells CNN he did not think the agent was going to actually shoot at him. The man agents arrested actively resisted federal law enforcement and attempted to bite one of the officers, an official with the Department of Homeland Security tells CNN. The officials said after the man was handcuffed, he was found to have multiple knives and drugs in his possession.
Who were these men? I find it hard to believe that these were ICE agents. These were actual federal agents, really. They had no identification on them. They had vests that said police, but were they actual police? They did not identify themselves. They did not appear to be behaving with the type of professionalism you would expect a trained police officer to have. If you saw, let me go back here for a moment.
Yeah, hell.
This video shows an ICE officer dropping his handgun during an arrest. He appeared to point the gun in the direction of...
Yeah.
One more time. Look at what happens with this firearm. He's feeling around his hip pocket, his waistline, trying to find his gun. He doesn't know where his gun is. Look at the hand on the ground. That's the suspect's hand, which is being forced there, by the way. It's the suspect's hand colliding with the gun. Then he realizes he's dropped his gun, and he scrambles for it. He knocks it away. Again, he forced the suspect's hand down there. The suspect is confused as well.
This video.
Partner draws his gun, leaves the hand free, so the guy's just holding another gun out. So if this suspect was genuinely trying to fight for his life, he might reach out and snatch that one. Start wrestling with
Video
that.
shows an ICE
The ICE officer, in quotes I say, has flopped onto his belly to grab the
officer
gun. Now
dropping
he
his handgun
scrambles.
during
His glasses are hanging off his face. They're way down on his nose. He motions to the crowd to
arrest.
move and then
He appeared to
points a
point the gun
gun
in
at
the
a camera
direction of
person. Threatens the life of a camera person.
the bystanders after picking it up.
Put the gun down.
Rafael Talis
He's panicked. He is, in other words, not somebody that I consider to be a professional. Now, my question to you is this: was he really working for ICE? Do we really think this is the level of professionalism that we would expect from a government agency, or are they impersonators, imposters? Are you telling me that ICE agents are so incompetent that people who are on ICE's payroll are so wildly, dangerously unable to do their jobs that they're dropping guns on the ground, pointing them at civilians, not securing the hands of somebody they are trying to arrest? I hope that person did bite them. I hope they have infected tooth marks on their arms, because I don't believe these are the type of people that ought to be government agents. And I actually find myself hoping that the conspiracy is so, that they are not truly hired by ICE, that they are lying to us. My question to you: who are they then? Who are these mysterious morons who have claimed to be ICE agents, perhaps? Bounty hunters, maybe? And what did they want with that person? What did they want with that person that they were tackling? What did that person know about what? Recent rumors suggest that a high-level member of government may have been on Epstein's island. No, not just Elon Musk, although Elon Musk was one, but another one. Someone seated in the highest offices that exist. Is this part of the cover-up? Is this part of the sinister conspiracy? What did that person know? I'm just asking questions, and I encourage you to do the same. And if it's possible, if it turns out that in the unlikely event these people actually were working for ICE, well, then we have to ask ourselves, how and why? Have they been fired yet? How did they get through the screening process? How is it possible that people so incompetent wound up working for ICE in American streets, pointing guns at American citizens? How did we allow this to happen? Latino Mufune says ICE are a bunch of overpaid thugs. I agree, but do we really think those were ICE officers? Deputized correction officers, says Legend of Sean, 8020. I believe that. But could they have been working for a shadowy organization? Could they have been serving interests beyond their stated purpose? Who actually benefits when citizens are rounded up by this group? Who benefits? There is a business conspiracy afoot. All of the people ICE snatches up in this manner are taken to facilities that are private. Private prisons get paid our tax dollars to house these people. When we jam 100 people in a room designed for 10, it's not for nothing. People get paid, and they get paid with our tax dollars. The people that own that tiny room that 100 bodies are crammed into receive a paycheck from the government. In return, they house the people and they donate money to the campaigns of those who encourage you to stuff people into more rooms, and thus the business conspiracy grows. We are ultimately being endangered so that rich people can get away with a crime, with kidnapping. And we pay them. Understand, we are both endangered by these people and paying them ourselves via tax dollars. That's the news. ICE agents terrorizing, or people claiming to be ICE agents, terrorizing the US populace. But let's talk about you. Have you encountered a UFO? I shared my story. I just eventually identified the object, and it turns out it wasn't flying, but still. What is your UFO story? Have you encountered an unidentified flying object? And if so, how, when, where, and why? Dudes who are just looking for any excuse to use their guns, says Pinkerbell. I believe that. I certainly believe that. Latino Mufune, suggesting they are abusing immigration laws to use them as an ethnic cleansing mechanism. I do think ethnic cleansing is the excuse being used to people who like the idea, for people that like the idea of a certain ethnicity not being allowed in America anymore. But I don't think that's the goal. I think the ethnic cleansing is a means to a much simpler, much sadder goal. Money. There's money in shoving people into private prisons. And the private prison owner, the singular businessman who owns Alligator Alcatraz, has made over $240 million. Let me correct that. I think it was $140 million. Regardless, over $100 million. Millions and millions of dollars to torture people, to shove 100 people into a room that it was designed for 10. They have thousands of people in such a situation, and they get money for that. Your money. They get tax dollars in order to shove people into such a room. And then they take those tax dollars that they were paid to torture people, and they bribe politicians in the form of donating to their campaigns with PACs, political action committees. Thus, they take a percentage of their profits from the evil that has been legislated in order to make more profit, open up more prisons, shove more people in there, point more guns at American citizens, terrorize the populace, attack your business's workers, interfere with your life. All of this is being done so that owners of private prisons can make a little more money. That is the nature of their character, isn't it? Mice agents with an M. Snixabia, great to see you. Hello, all. Hello to you. We're discussing stories of UFOs. Have you encountered an unidentified flying object? If so, do tell me about it. Have you ever hunted for an unidentified flying object? If so, do click the link in the description and we will discuss. We're also discussing the conspiracies throughout America recently. Recently, it was discovered that powerful people within the U.S. government appear to have been involved with child sex crimes. And they appear to be involved in a cover-up of those crimes. You might remember billionaire Elon Musk accused President Donald Trump of being involved in the Epstein files. Well, now there's a twist because his name has come up in those very files.
Elon Musk's name has appeared in files relating to Jeffrey Epstein, with reference to him potentially visiting the island that Epstein owned. The files have just been released by Democrats in Washington, and they also show Prince Andrew was listed as a passenger on the pedophile's private plane. Let's bring in our U.S. correspondent, David Blevins. David, what else do we know about this mention of Elon Musk in these files?
Well, the Epstein estate has been gradually handing over documents to an oversight committee on Capitol Hill, and it is the latest batch of those documents that appear to suggest Elon Musk may have been a visitor to Epstein Island on December 6, 2014. An entry in what appears to be Epstein's daily schedule reads, "Reminder, Elon Musk to Island, December 6. Is this still happening?" December 6, 2014, of course, is 6 years after Jeffrey Epstein was listed as a sex offender. We've reached out to Elon Musk for comment. He's not just the world's most wealthy man. He was, of course, a very prominent player in the early days of the Trump administration, leading the so-called Department of Government Efficiency, until the two men had a very public falling out in June, when you may recall Elon Musk alleged online that the administration was concealing the files and that Donald Trump was named in them. He later deleted that post, and after 3 months of estrangement, the two men were pictured together for the first time at the funeral of Charlie Kirk last weekend. The documents also show Prince Andrew listed as a passenger on Epstein's jet in May 2000. It's not the first time we've heard that. During the trial of Epstein's girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, one of her accusers, who was 14 at the time, recalled being a passenger on that jet with Andrew. The Duke of York strenuously denies any wrongdoing.
Powerful government figures appearing on the Epstein list. Elon Musk, head of DOGE, that was the newly invented by the Trump administration Department of Government Efficiency, after getting punched in the face and falling out with Donald Trump. He accused Trump of being a kitty diddler and being good friends with Epstein. Now, he has no evidence of this. It's important to point out that I'm aware of. No evidence he's presented of this. All we have to suggest that Trump might have in any way been involved with Epstein is their decades-long friendship, the fact that Epstein recruited children out of Mar-a-Lago, the fact that Epstein took Virginia Giuffre from Donald Trump's employment and then sexually abused her. The pictures of them together, the birthday card that he filled out and drew a picture of an underage girl naked on, their wink and nod suggestions to having secrets together. But other than that, there's no evidence to suggest that, and his refusal to publish the Epstein files. But other than that, there is no evidence to suggest that Donald Trump had anything to do with Jeffrey Epstein. And yet, Elon Musk, who has accused Trump of being a kitty diddler, appears to have had association with Epstein after it came out that this guy was, in fact, a kitty diddler. 6 years after this, Elon Musk had an association, or at least had some, Epstein had some reason to believe that there was a chance they'd be spending time together. It is very suspicious. Very suspicious indeed that he would accuse somebody else within the administration he was serving, in this case, the head of it, of being involved with Epstein, knowing that he himself would appear on that list. The guy's a billionaire. And he knew that Epstein was a hot topic, and he knew what was in the list because he was within the government. So it's very strange that Elon Musk would, in fact, accuse Trump of this and then turn around to be on the list. One might suggest that he is providing cover for himself. One might wonder why he got punched in the face back when he was in the White House. He says he hit a doorknob, I believe, or he fell downstairs. He said it was an accident, or maybe his child punched him. but he had fairly bad black eye. Elon Musk, black eye. Let's have a look at this. Let's examine this black eye. Oh dear. That's not very good, is it? I'm going to try to download that image. Give me a moment here, because I'd like to go over this. My question is that if Musk's eye was in fact, yeah, look at this. If this eye was caused by a conflict within the administration, say between Trump and Musk or Miller and Musk or whoever, what would be the cause of being so angry with your coworker that you struck them in the face? What could possibly make you so disgusted with one of your coworkers that you would strike them like that? I mean, you know they're going to be on camera. You know all of your jobs are public. People will talk about this. What would cause you to throw out all decorum, all care, just to punch somebody and cause that kind of damage? By the way, absolutely terminating the relationship they had. Well, one thing that I might consider punching a coworker over is the discovery that they were diddling kids and got away with it. That would cause me to strike a coworker. It doesn't mean it would be the right thing to do. Right thing to do, I don't know, call the cops, I suppose, but it's understandable. It would make a lot more sense. Again, I don't know. I'm just asking the question, but I think it's a question worth asking because it is very unusual for members of a government administration to strike each other. And you would assume something pretty big had to happen for these folks to start punching each other up in the White House. Now it has come out that Musk appears to have been in some association with Jeffrey Epstein after Epstein's initial investigations were opened into his behavior around children. And there is internal memos from the Epstein organization asking, is the trip with Musk still happening? As in, we had reason to believe it might be happening. Food for thought, certainly. Now, Obsessive Audio brings up a good point. That face is so punchable. Just walking into a room might have done it. And I can agree with that. He does have amongst the world's most punchable faces. Although, counterpoint, it's just come out that Elon Musk's father, appears to have been involved also in child molestation. And just to be real with you, even though I'm not delighted by it, there's a pattern of abuse that sometimes happens. When one person abuses a child, that child sometimes becomes a person who abuses other children when they grow up. Elon Musk does not speak with his father anymore. We don't have the full picture. We only have pieces. Elon Musk's father was a pedophile. Elon Musk does not speak to his father anymore. That suggests that there is bad blood there. Elon Musk accused Trump of being a pedophile. Elon Musk got punched in the face while in the White House while people were exploring the Epstein files. And now it has come out that the Epstein organization had some interaction with Musk after Epstein's initial trials for child molestation. There is a lot of evidence all together. And the way this is normally handled in a sane society is that we have a court case about it. The prosecutors gather all their evidence, they arrange a court date, and we hash it out in court. However, Elon Musk is rich, Elon Musk is connected, and the Epstein files have not been released. We are meant to simply treat him as anybody else is treated. We are meant to simply forget. We are meant to not ask questions. We are meant to be good serfs. Are you satisfied being a serf? I'm not. I'm an American. We don't serf anybody. I would recommend you demand from your representatives. You demand the release of the Epstein files. I don't care if they're leftists. I don't care if they're conservative. I don't care if they're Democrats or Republicans. Demand from your representative, regardless of party, that the Epstein files be released in their entirety because the people are sick of waiting for the DOJ to decide they care about us. It's been 25 years, for God's sake. Must we all age until we forget that this ever even happened? Release the Epstein files. It is the only way we are going to get any clarity on this. And I just don't care what your political party is. It doesn't matter. This should be not a matter of politics. And let me toss this out there. Both Republican and Democrat administrations now have failed to release anything. For any of us to identify with any of those demons is an insult to ourselves and our neighbors. These people do not represent us. They do not care about us. And so we should be a bother to them. Was Elon Musk involved with the darkest activities of Jeffrey Epstein? We do not know, but there is now evidence to strongly suggest that he was. Who else? Yeah. Is Elon coming to the island this weekend? Says Obsessive Audio. What time? Also a good point. Like the stream if you haven't already. By the way, if you enjoy getting to the truth of things, if you want to support strange content across the internet, do consider going to patreon.com/WYCD, where tales of the bizarre are funded. I'm going to take a brief break while I ensure that my tinfoil hat and lining for the room is on secure. Remember, we are asking, have you encountered a UFO? I shared my own story. I'd like to hear yours. Do consider clicking on the link if you have a UFO story. I'll be back very shortly. This is Back and to the Left. You're listening to Back and to the Left, the podcast that asks, are they lying? Who and why? When and where? Also, what? My name's Redacted. So far, we've covered people impersonating agents of the federal government with perhaps nefarious plans, a cover up at the highest levels, including a billionaire and elected officials. And of course, my own story with the unknown, meeting a UFO, or at least approaching what I thought was one and discovering a raccoon. What is your story with the unknown? Have you encountered a UFO? My name's Redacted, and I'm trying my best to make my story cool. It wasn't that cool, but it was cool leading up to it, you know? It was cool for like a good 90 seconds until I discovered what it was. Then I was just mildly worried for the raccoon. Have you encountered a UFO? Do click the link in the description. Natchikit says, I once saw a UFO in the sky outdoors. It looked like a basketball, only it was getting bigger and bigger in size. Then it hit me. Okay. You son of a gun. Well done. DF says, you look poor. I am. I'm fighting the man, and there's not a lot of money in that. But if you would like to assist me in fighting the man, do consider going to patreon.com/WYCD. That's patreon.com/WYCD. That supports the show and allows us to keep asking the important question. Multiple important questions. Have you encountered a UFO? I find it hard to believe that everyone out there is so very familiar with all the objects they see in the sky. You don't have to have met aliens, not this time. But have you encountered a UFO? I have. I told my story. Now I want to hear yours. If you missed my thrilling tale of an encounter with the unknown, do check out the beginning of this stream. It's what we opened up with. And then we covered the topics of the day, including a government cover-up of perhaps child diddly behavior and people impersonating government agents on our streets. Truly strange times. To be fair, says Legends of Sean, all us Midwesterners look poor. Well, that's true. That is true. But no, this DF has guessed correctly. I am indeed extraordinarily poor. This is a not insignificant amount of my entertainment budget. Speaking of, IDK, which I suspect stands for Internet Dark Knowledge, says, funny how there's so many claims of seeing UFOs, but no videos despite everyone owning a phone. True. It's been a great disappointment that as the era of cameras has grown, the number of claims of the impossible have shrank. Very, very sad. The reference frame. You mean unidentified aerial phenomenon? No, I do not. Because UFO sounds cooler to me. Yes, Internet Dark Knowledge. Possibly a Warlock build. Have you encountered the unknown? Here's a question. Here's something Obsessive Audio says. If the aliens are smart enough to get here, they're smart enough to stay away. Well, that brings forth my outlook on aliens. You see, I believe that if aliens had the ability to travel all the way to us, there is nothing that we have that they will need. The elements of Earth can be created in space. If you're worried they might be after our water, for example, there are whole clouds of ice in space, bigger than the Earth itself, with more mass than the Earth itself. Rather than coming to our planet to get it, the water, they could simply go there and get much more water much easier. Easier, I say, because they're not contending with gravity then to try to transfer the water. So on and so forth. They will have a technological level beyond the necessity of thievery. So if aliens are coming to our planet, I can tell you now from experience that I will take comfort in the knowledge that they likely aren't trying to thieve from us like, say, the government is. No, they're likely coming in peace, or if not specifically peace, then not specifically for war. And I say I can tell you from experience because when I was certain that I was traveling to meet aliens, the thought that went through my head is, I'm safe. I don't have to worry. I'm not being hunted by these beings. Because why would they? For what purpose? I agree, Najikit. If aliens showed up, I'd be so embarrassed for our species. Same. I also worry about the fact that we eat other animals. Ben Shapiro would know what to do with a UAP. Okay, I just figured, all right. He wouldn't know what to do with a wet one. Uh, if aliens were to come here, I am concerned that they would see us eating meat. Meat, as of now, it's not something that we need to eat to survive. It is something we choose to eat because we can and because it's delicious. But it comes from other living beings who must die in order for us to get the meat. And so we kill them. We kill them in mass. We have facilities designed entirely to breed beasts that are delicious and then slaughter those beasts and then send their flesh to our plates. I know it sounds nefarious the way I'm saying it, but imagine you are an alien and you come to a new planet and you look at the species on that planet, and the most powerful species there is enslaving and devouring the others. Would you immediately think we should be friends with these folks? We should uplift these folks. This species that eats other species, that kills and devours other species, we should give them the sort of technology that would let them travel the stars. Hell no. As a basic precaution, no. That's what I worry about. There's also the morality of the eating of the animals, and I don't expect you to agree with my own take on it. I'm not even sure what my own take on it is as far as the individual morality, but as a possible explanation to the Fermi paradox, well, maybe it's that they take a look at us and decide we're not ready yet. We still kill for sport, for pleasure, for reasons beyond absolute necessity. We discriminate. We do not empathize. We do not have a universal empathy, so we are not ready for the greater universe. Something to consider. If aliens showed up, they would be like, yeah, we get it. Been there, done that. Entirely possible. If vampires were aliens in their origin, their mythological origin, rather than monsters, the undead. I do wonder what we would think of the vampire. If vampires came from outer space, for example, it would be no different than we behave. The whole blood sucking to survive thing. We're saying we eat to survive. It's not wrong. It's an exaggeration. We could eat all veggies and be fine. We like steak. We like burgers. Hard to blame us for that, but we will be judged from a non-human perspective. And the fact of the matter is, we treat non-humans poorly. They are our slaves or our food. And we might consider, if we are trying to convince silent watchers to befriend us, we might consider becoming friendly. Because right now, I don't think we are. There is good news on that front. We are learning to make meat in a petri dish. And if that sounds gross to you, consider this. The finest cut of steak comes from a specific part of the animal, and you get one per bovine creature slaughtered. But that's very expensive in a lot of ways. But if we grow meat on a petri dish out of cells that come from the most expensive part, suddenly the price of that best cut of meat goes way down because you don't have the inefficiencies of slaughtering the rest of the cow to deal with. On top of that, different cows, different bulls provide different qualities of meat. You could find the absolute most tip-top quality bull, and rather than slaughter it, you take a biopsy and you recreate that cell line over and over and over again. So you're not just having a good steak, you're having the absolute best steak possible every time you have a steak. Not just the finest cut, although it is the finest cut, but the finest cut of meat from the finest bull multiplied ad infinitum. Science may not make us vegetarians, but may provide us with a solution to this, may improve our lives greatly. That is right around the corner. It's in fact here. It's just not cheap enough yet. The process is not yet cheap enough to make it viable. But we're on the way. Oof, says Legends of Sean. If aliens think of us as pigs that wear clothes. I mean, that's not far off, to be honest. I once heard the difference in intelligence described as this by Neil deGrasse Tyson. He was saying that the absolute most brilliant chimpanzee can kind of pull off finger painting. Finger painting is something that we assign children as tasks in their very first lessons in school. Finger painting is something that is considered, in other words, a very basic human ability. But the absolute most brilliant chimps are the only ones who can pull it off. Now imagine space travel. Think of writing a symphony. You know, you and I could compose a song right here. We could do a song, compose one, but a symphony? Imagine a species whose preschoolers compose symphonies as easily as we come up with a little ditty, a little song to hum. Only the very best of us are capable of composing a whole ass symphony. But a species which is smart enough to invent the things necessary to be an intergalactic animal is likely going to be intelligent on that level. is likely going to be that far beyond us. And when they look at us, they might have sympathy, not unlike we kind of like pigs. We like their personalities. They might think we look gross. They might think we act gross. But they'd recognize that we have personalities. But intellectually, we might be as far away from them as barnyard animals are from us. And if we don't want to be called hypocrites, it is worth considering that we treat others, let's start with other humans, but others, kinder than we have been. This has been WYCD Back and to the Left. I've been Redacted, and we'll see you again in a little bit.